need a vote. We just go right to it. So I don't know if you have on the agenda, Brenda, but there, we do have some changes in the committee with Betsy resigning last month. Stephen Stein, who is the new chair for the planning board, will be filling in her place now on the committee. He does have some experience with affordable housing and other initiatives, which is exciting for him to be joining us.
Yes, hi, Stephen.
Mm-hmm. Hi, all. Thanks so much. I'm excited to be part of this. So, not up to speed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get caught up today.
Yeah. Okay. I will send you a packet of information and some stuff for you to read, etc. And we'll go from there.
I don't have our agenda in front of me.
Sure. Minutes. May minutes.
Has everybody had a chance to look over the May minutes?
Yes.
There's no changes or suggestions. I'll ask for a motion to accept the minutes for May.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Ravana.
Second it.
All in favor, accepting the minutes?
Aye.
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 I'm going to share my screen for the financials here. One moment. Okay. So for our financials, I just want to point out that the check cleared for our second influx of money for the ADLN grant, which totaled $19,706. So that $84,000. So the total that we have thus far includes an additional almost $20,000. Most of our spending for the previous month included the last payment for our audit, some small legal fees to Victoria Polidoro for her help with the ADL and grant and the contracts for that. And then the rest of our expenses for the month fall into the ADL and grant expenses. To date, as of June 3rd, we have spent just over $56,000 for that grant. Let's move to this one. And again, this Bank of Greene County account, which is our only account at this point, is showing $38,556, which includes just our regular operating capital, as well as our ADL and funds in, and then again, with that additional $19,000. And I can, after the meeting, I can run the finances again and send everybody on the board an updated P&L so you know where we are. Other than that, things are the same.
Great. Any questions from the board on the financial report?
No.
Entertain a motion to accept the finances.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank
All
you.
in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Great.
Thank you, Brenda.
Also in your, I'm sorry, came in a little bit piecemeal this time, receiving invoices from everybody, but that's fine. So in your email, you received all the invoices for the ADL and grant and my invoice for the work for you guys. So we need to do bill approval for that.
Great. And then we have another addition. So we, as everybody is know, we hired a housing director. She's here with us today. This is, I believe, her third week. So Michelle Tulio, if you want to introduce yourself. She's been making her rounds, kind of getting to know the who's who and who's working on housing in our city.
Welcome.
Hey everybody.
Hey,
Yeah,
Michelle.
excited to be here. I think I've met a lot of you, but some of you haven't met yet. So yeah, I am excited to work with you all. Just moved to Hudson from New Orleans, but my family, I grew up in the Hudson Valley. My family's all here, so definitely have ties to the region. And I've got a planning background and I worked with displaced communities in New Orleans. So excited to be joining you with this work.
Thank you.
Great.
Good to have you, Michelle.
Yes, nice to see you.
And
All right. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just going to pass it back to you.
Yeah, so in all business, I think it's important that we do our ADLN update. So this all comes together. That's our main focus right now. Do you want to do that, Sarah?
Sarah.
Yes. Our biggest update is that Michelle started on June 1st. Since then, she and I have been working on the handoff of my duties and my loose ends, and I was only working half time, so now we get to sort of expand, which is exciting. As of May 20th, the Hudson Roots roster had 25 clients that had received confirmed support from the city of Hudson. From Hudson Roots, and we were spending about $57,000 had been confirmed. Now, not all of that is paid out, certainly not all at once, not in this quarter, not even in the next quarter. A majority of that of those clients are receiving short-term rental subsidies, and it's typically about $400 a month for 6 months. So those will be kind of that $57,000 is like a rolling expense. They have also hired an administrative position that this is sort of a small detail, but that they'd struggled to hire somebody. So I think they're going to have some expanded capacity coming up. So that was the May 20th figure. We also spoke with Dave on Friday, and just between May 20th and June 4th, I don't have the exact numbers, but he said that that as we continue to bring on referrals, that the committed amount of money that we've spent is approaching $70,000. So that's good news that the money is moving, and we have a lot of evidence that our outreach team is driving a lot of these referrals, and it seems pretty positive. It also, that number, 25 households, $57,000 makes sense with some recent data that we saw from the National Equity Atlas that said there are about 110, they estimated 110 households in Columbia County that owed back rent, and that the average amount of rental debt was about $2,600. So I feel like it makes sense that that's how our spending is checking out, even though most of the spending is in the short-term rental subsidy. The Housing Trust Fund planning is coming along. It's great to have Michelle's labor behind it now. And I feel like we're gaining some traction, and more than that, we are working on finalizing a proposal that will sort of establish like the basic structure of we think the fund should look like, and then we can shop that out to our like immediate circle of stakeholders and advisors, including many of you, to get like a round of feedback, and are hoping to introduce the proposal to the public in July. We also submitted a proposal for something that's called Strategy 6, like is sort of a midpoint additional strategy that we designed, but the funds could only be released at the beginning of the third quarter. So it's like, it was a strategy TBD until we worked with the Hudson Catskill Housing Coalition to develop a proposal for a funded housing justice organizing fellowship in partnership with John Washington and Jen Nicosi, who are organizers from Buffalo that are part of Push Buffalo, and then they have a consulting firm. So if Enterprise approves that, we'll be able to support HCHC in building a cohort of 4 to 6 organizers who will get really in-depth training on community organizing skills, on basic housing, not basic, but on critical housing policy frameworks from like a community power standpoint. Those organizers will receive a small stipend for 6 months. And then there's a training budget and a project budget for them. And so we're hoping that if Enterprise approves the funding, that this will really help generate a lot of momentum and around both the launch of the Housing Trust Fund and some of the other projects that are coming in the works, but also like creating a kind of more long-term leadership pipeline for folks who are directly impacted by the housing crisis. So that was submitted at the end of May, and yeah, we put a lot of work into it. I'm really excited about it, and I think Enterprise would be foolish if they didn't fund it. But it does, yeah. So we make the case that that kind of community organizing is an actual strategy to tangibly prevent displacement. What else? What am I missing, Rebecca?
Well, no, I think you've covered. I mean, housing trust is the. I mean, yeah, I think that is it. Yeah. I mean, I had brought up, and I'm not. I guess in new business, we could talk about, just a strategy for kind of maintaining ADLN presence on the HCDPA board.
Yeah, I put that on the new agenda. Are you ready to move on to the next order of business? All right, the next order is we're continuing discussion on properties for sale and also the community garden, which is 202 Columbia Street. As far as our properties for sale in general, I should have mentioned this during the finances, my bad. We're just around $20,000 for operating capital for HCDPA, and that is not including the funds for the ADLN grant. So just be aware of that. You may want to consider, as the auditor suggested last time, to think about doing a sealed bid or dispose of some of the properties. I have the paperwork already drawn up because we did it before for that 238 Columbia Street, which is the loan parcel that's situated on Lower Columbia. So I don't know that you really want to vote to do it now, but I think that's something you need to consider. Hopefully, as the other affordable housing plan comes into play in tandem with this, that we can consider it. As far as 202 Columbia Street and the community garden, I have had many phone calls back and forth with our insurance agents to verify whether or not we can or cannot. I wanted to do my diligence on that to see, make sure that we were covered or not covered, if we needed to pay more money. Our broker believes that we are covered for general use in that parcel, that it was there. She has not gotten a hold of our actual insurance carrier to verify. As soon as I know that, I'll let you know. Since the last meeting, I did draft an RFP for the management of the community garden because we had multiple parties interested in doing so. So that's drafted, and this is also in new business. We have Victoria Polidoro is offering her services, and we need to have a vote to have her look over that paperwork, make sure everything is good to go before posting it, because I didn't want to, break any policy or do anything like that without legal counsel looking at it. Unfortunately, we're in a situation where HCDPA, and this is for the public knowledge too, HCDPA is a city agency, but we're not represented by the city's legal counsel. So we have to usually obtain our own separately. So that's where we are there.
Is there any interest in Victoria representing HCDPA in general?
Yes, but again, because our funds are a little bit low right now, I think it was just on an as-needed basis for projects. And I think, Vicki, are you here?
I think that's a different Vicky.
It's a different Vicki. I invited them to the meeting, so. She said she was when I spoke with her both via email and on the phone, that she was interested in representing us, but because of the low funding, she said it's probably better to do it sort of project by project as we go, so as not to deplete funds, because as you all know, legal costs are pretty expensive. So so later we can have a vote to allow her to represent us for the community garden if that is the board's desire.
We have some questions from board members. Rebecca?
Thanks. Yeah, I just realized that when we were reporting on Adln activities, I'm not sure if the Affordable Housing Development Plan is sort of umbrellaed under Adln activities at this time, but I think we could just report that we've been meeting, our committee has been meeting, we've been progressing through identifying, looking at sites and talking about different strategies for various different kinds of ways to identify developers, identify properties, and and basically the plan is moving forward. So I just realized that was the thing we were missing in our reporting. So that's just and Kate, I don't know if you have anything to report particularly that you wanted to add, or?
We have some questions about the properties, but we can save that for later, perhaps. I'm not sure if this is the time, about the disposition of the HCDPA properties and just the timeline and the goals and which specific lots you're considering. And I don't know if this is where we should discuss that or not.
Yeah, we could totally do that. I'm fine with that.
So yeah, I mean, I just in general, because we are looking at these parcels for the potential, if we just had a better understanding of what's being considered with those properties, and if you're putting together an RFQ or an RFP related to those parcels, and just sort of the plan for disposition.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I would just to mention is that at our last meeting, we did vote as a board that the disposition of the properties will, like, the one thing we know about it at this point is that it will be done with our mission in mind. So that's kind of the guiding principle of how we'll be like organizing the possible disposition. So I just wanted to put that in there.
That's helpful.
In general, I mean, if you look at the city's website there, the parcels are listed there. Some of them are a little bit iffy. If you haven't been coming to our meetings, we have some parcels with 666 beginning on their tax parcel number. And some of those are a little bit iffy in whether or not they're clear titles or if they're actually locatable. The ones that we do know about are the 3 parcels, that's 202, 204, 206 Columbia. That is the community garden. We have 238 Columbia, which is further down street. And then below Bliss Towers on the north side, the even numbers of State Street, which is sort of like that incline that kind of goes down by the water treatment plant over there. So those are the ones that we know that we have. And in general, I think that Ravonda was talking about maybe those lower State Street ones, maybe something with patterns for progress, developing a plan there. Otherwise, the disposition of the properties can be done either via sealed bid, or we could do an RFP with a developer, trying to engage developers to do something. Tom, I see you have your finger.
Yeah, what about the property at the corner of Warren and Front?
Warren in front, that, yes, correct. I forgot about that one. That's a big one. Right, so the little park that's at the corner of Front, which is technically North Front Street and Warren Street. And then there's another parcel right there, not the building, it's all empty land. That whole thing is together as another potential package if we wanted to do that. That'd probably be highly desirable, I believe. So yeah, I'm as far as the last meeting that we had where we discussed disposition, Rebecca's right. In the minutes, you know, it's going to be done with the mission in mind, of course. But I got the sense, and you know, again, I'm not on the board. This is you guys, your decision. If you wanted to wait until you had the plan, or if you wanted to start the process now, partnering with Pattern for Progress or Habitat, or however you wanted to handle it. So.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's an important, obviously like a really important conversation that the board needs to have about, you know, there's a variety of different processes happening in the city currently, some of which may align really well to work with HCDPA properties and city-owned properties, but and including HHA as the you know, partner organization to some extent of HCDPA. So there's a lot of development possibilities, and it obviously needs to be planned. So not, you know, not in a sort of, there needs to be like an overall concept, and there needs to be an understanding, and there needs to be a plan. So that would be my suggestion, that we, you know, start. I mean, I feel like there needs to be a little more information from various different sources about what, you know, some decisions have to be made before the whole group of properties can really be understood. Like what are the best uses for which properties?
Right. I mean, if you go back to the strategic housing plan, and now with the new plan that's in development, that sort of, I'm going to say the word piggyback, but it's not the right word, goes along with that. There are many different options that we have to sort of achieve the goals for affordable housing in the city. So it's a big conversation, and we definitely need to plan and in my opinion, you know, connect with other partners to do it, because we know that we're just a little group, so we have to rely on our partnerships.
Ravonda, you had your hand up for
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, Tiffany?
Yeah, I want to make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss these details.
to discuss. I'm not sure I'm understanding, Tiffany.
Well, we're getting information from Brenda. There's decisions that we need to make, and there's seems like there's limited information for what other board members are receiving. And there's other information or details that we have not discussed or have discussed or been in circles, and I feel like we need to go into executive session to put these things out on the table so we can move forward. We have been spinning and spinning off of the idea of the community garden as well as the other properties for some time now. For many, many years, the property has been, so to speak, neglected, particularly the community garden. And it has been said it should be within the minutes because people, you know, been using the community garden as a food source. And it has been noticed, it has been said, and we said we want to use the garden and enhance it and create what is needed for the people in the community. And now all of a sudden, there's like all this interest, all of a sudden, and I don't feel, it's giving me an eerie feeling, to be frank. Because all of this interest, all of a sudden, for the people that we have never seen or heard for so many years, but we have people right here in the community that's been doing the work, hands dirty. And now all of a sudden there's issues, there's a problem when people are looking out for people in the community. We have, it just baffles me. And and maybe I'm just late, or maybe I know some of you know I had a seizure, and sometimes my memory goes in and out. And I just wanted another question. When was Brenda made chair?
I'm not.
I don't know if you missed this part, Tiff, if you were on, but I think we're voting later in the meeting for the RFP for the community garden.
Are we voting, or is it just that there's a draft that we're going to review a draft? That's what I thought was happening about the community garden.
You voted at the last meeting that the board wanted to put out an RFP, which I drafted, and then I needed to find legal counsel to look at it before we posted it publicly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. Okay, you just read rules that the city council is not this agency's council, but that doesn't mean that he wouldn't have looked at it. I mean, I just don't understand why these unnecessary complications. I just don't understand it. Well, now we have a staff full of attorneys for the city, and you can ask one of them?
Nobody, we have to engage legal counsel separately from the city itself.
Separate from itself, from asking a specific question or paying them?
Both.
Send me that in the law, please.
So, I mean, is there a motion to go in? Do we need to go into executive session?
I don't think that this counts as a valid reason to go into
So
executive
who is
session.
this person that wants that she's bringing forth as an attorney that we can decide, even though she stated that she doesn't get a vote, but she's like always trying to persuade us. So I just want to know, like, we can seek out attorneys. There's plenty of attorneys in the city of Hudson and Columbia County.
Yeah, we actually, we have an attorney that we spoke to, Victoria Polidoro, who is willing to take a look at this. We just need to vote to authorize.
So let me ask you a question, Mayor. Victoria, is this a person that was recommended from someone as a board member, or is this a person from Branda?
No, she actually is a part of the city attorneys, but she handles some of the like commissions and stuff like that. So I think the issue with one of the city attorneys taking a look at some of the stuff from HCDPA is they would be acting on behalf of the city's interest. And, we really need someone who's going to act on behalf of the board's interest.
Victoria Polidoro, the person that I'm referring to that is willing to be our legal counsel, was the legal counsel that helped us through the ADL and grant process. with the contracts. So she's familiar both historically and through the previous work that she's done with us.
So this is someone that you're recommending, not someone from a board member.
Tiffany, I went to many different people, including city attorneys that already work for the
I don't
city,
know
and
who's
nobody could
speaking.
take it
I'm
on. So
sorry, I can't. I'm on the phone and I'm having a problem with Zoom. So can you let me know who's speaking to me? Because I don't know.
it's Branda.
Okay.
I spoke to I spoke to 2 of the city attorneys. And then I went back to Victoria through our previous work with her through the ADLN grant and contract. And she was willing to work with us to do the community garden RFP.
I would love to hear from the board members. How do they feel about it? Did they get a chance to speak with Victoria ahead of time? Or is this the first time we're hearing about Victoria? Or is it my first time?
Well, if you paid, no.
I mean, I guess I've been through a couple different processes where we've had to identify counsel that will be able to help us. And so I understand it can be difficult. And so and I know that I've observed Vicky Polidoro working for the planning board. So I guess at that level, I'm comfortable with her as being somebody that could represent HCDPA. That seems okay to me.
Yeah, and she worked on the ADLN grant with us as well, so she's familiar with the board and with our interests.
Everyone else on the board is okay? It's quiet now.
Tiffany, this is Steve. I'm brand new, but I'm from the planning board. I could just comment that Victoria is our lawyer for any project requiring escrow. So for the sort of larger, more complicated projects that we review with the planning board, and she's been a great partner for us for planning projects.
Thank you, Steve.
Any other comment from board members?
I have a comment, but not on this, whenever you guys wrap this up.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Rwanda.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. One thing I'm gonna agree with Tiffany about is it seems like there's a lot of running around on the board. And I just wanna say, I got this seat on the board because it went hand in hand for me being the Housing Authority Chair. This isn't something that I signed up for. So I don't wanna do the running around. I wanna be straightforward and get down to the bottom. I see that the Hudson Housing Authority is not on old business. And when Marie was the chair and she had this seat, she brought up the property that we would like. And then when I got the chair, I brought up the property we would like. And I know there was a couple things where you said you had to wait to hear from people and a lot of things going on. And right now we are almost 6 months into the first time we inquired about these parcels in this. And I feel like that's a lot of running around. And I just want to know what to properly do. I don't think that we should be waiting on someone over and over again. And every meeting, 30 days later, we're getting nowhere. So I want to find out how we can get somewhere, because I'm a part of this board. And I'll say it again, it was something that I didn't sign up for. So there's a reason why I'm here. And as you know, I'm trying to expand. We are currently in a housing crisis. We currently have a RFQ draft that we are voting on tomorrow. And I have yet to hear about if we can put these properties in our draft. So I want the running around for me to end today. I want to know how we can move forward on getting something done, because when I am involved in something, I want to get it done. I don't want to come to these board meetings and nothing is getting done. I feel like I have a seat here for a reason. I was put on this board here for a reason. So what can we do to keep this going? I don't want to come next week and I'm back to where I was. This is like my third meeting, I think, and I'm where I am from the first meeting. I don't want us to keep going on and we're just dragging and we might need to consider getting other people to evaluate and look at things, whatever appraisals, whatever needs to be done. We might not want to wait on that person we've been waiting on anymore. We might want to consider hiring someone else. So yeah, I'm here on this board for a reason. I'm the chair of the Hudson Housing Authority. And I feel like I'm here because there's land that I should be accessing to make affordable housing. So Brenda, Kamal, can somebody give me something good that I can hear?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would definitely like to see some movement. I don't know where we are in the process as far as like deciding, what we're doing with land, but that's something that, let's have that conversation.
I think that with so many people wanting properties and so many things going on, this 30-day wait, this 31-day wait to get no answer is just not working. If we need to call for a special meeting, I feel like special meetings need to happen because 30 days and 31 days is not working for me because I'm getting the same answer. I'm not even on the agenda. Hudson Housing Authority is not on the agenda. We should be on the agenda as old business every time until we get the business done.
Yeah, and we could change that going forward so that happens. And if we need a special meeting, I mean, I have no issues with that as well. Rebecca, you had something?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think maybe we should try to focus the conversation about how it is that the housing authority how this land can work together with the housing authority RFQ, because I don't think we've had a real conversation in HCDPA about what that looks like. So, I mean, I would like to make a motion that we have a conversation about that right now.
And I will second.
I don't think you need a motion for that.
Well, I don't know, just seemed like a thing to do. But since it's not on the agenda, it seems like time to just bring it forward. So basically, the process of urban renewal, and anybody who has like specificity that they can add to what I'm about to say, please add it. But the process of urban renewal, provided certain properties to HCDPA and certain to HHA, but there's a relationship there, and the mission of the HCDPA is to serve the low-income community of Hudson, and currently HHA is developing its property, but there's a relationship between these properties. They're in proximity, and there's like a really strong arguments to be made. I think that the properties can be included in an RFQ for development, and that could actually create a whole other level of possibility for developers who, as we know, need, they work best if they have like a larger area to work with, essentially. And we also know that HHA need, that there's a need in the city for more units or housing homes than are currently provided by HHA. So, Tom?
Why not come up with a resolution that, I don't know how this actually would be done, but that HCDPA says which properties they're willing to allow HHA to develop? Isn't that what you're basically looking for?
That sounds.
HHA can develop. HCDPA doesn't have the ability to.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
So why not just decide which properties you want to? I don't know what the legal dimensions of this are. Brenda could certainly research it, but I don't see why you can't just say, here are these properties. You guys have them at your disposal to include in your proposal.
Well, and obviously, like the affordable housing development plan, is happening concurrently with. That's kind of what I was trying to get at. We're trying to make this plan, but there's the urgency is ahead of us. So essentially, and the pressure, I would say, also from various corners to dispose of properties is also ahead of us. So basically, you know, possibly the HDP, Affordable Housing Development Plan, could be instrumental in helping HCDPA understand how that would work, which properties, how that best works.
Thank you for that, Rebecca. I think that was what I was trying to express, was that it was my understanding that the board was waiting for a plan to be developed prior to making any decisions about disposition. So it's not so much about the spinning wheels, it's about doing things concurrently and trying to move things along. But you're right, I feel like that the urgency is coming before. But one thing I didn't note prior when we were talking about the properties before is that I did request the new updated appraisals for the parcels that are available.
So what do we, I mean, is there anything that, I mean, does anyone who's present at this meeting right now want to actually outline, you know, the properties themselves that really make sense? Because that would maybe be useful for everybody to just kind of like concretize what we're actually talking about.
Yeah, I mean, and also, do we want to set a date for a special meeting to kind of hash this all out? I think that's like the best case scenario than to just try to run through this on the fly.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Brenda, can you put out a date for us?
Sure. Hold on, let me grab my calendar.
Also, Quentin has his hand up. I don't know if we're at that stage.
I believe he was clapping.
Well, but then there's still.
Not at all. I just want to know when is the proposed housing plan supposed to be completed?
Yeah, I mean, it's the timeline for it was originally November, I think, and now it's like it's happening a little bit faster. So maybe it's October, something like that. And that's, you know, that's the kind of plan that includes like a lot of different sorts of analyses. Mm-hmm.
I get you. So everything is. So is this board asking that everything be stopped until October, November? Like we just wait?
No, I don't. Well, I'm not asking that.
Okay. That's what I just want to make clear.
No. I think that's what we're just all trying to reckon with is that yeah, we've got this plan which is going to be very useful for like a bunch of purposes in terms of funding from the state and all of that. I mean, that's kind of my basic understanding of what we're doing with this plan is to be provided with all the different kinds of material that you need when you then go to the state to get funding. And it's, you know, so it's useful to be able to provide that to developers and have like a pipeline of projects. But clearly there's also like internal pressure, and I mean, good pressure, the pressure that we actually have. I don't mean pressure like, I mean, you know, it's the real pressure of people needing action.
So, KK, I would like to make a motion to allow HHA to have first choice on that State Street property.
I don't know the legality of that, but Brenda, do you know?
Yeah, I don't know that we can do that.
Well,
because you're on. Yep.
Yes, I had actually spoke with Darren Scott about this a couple of weeks ago, and he told me I am allowed to make a motion to have first choice on the land.
I second her motion.
And I do have an email I can share with everyone, but he did tell me I can absolutely make a motion to have first dibs on that land.
Yeah, can you send that to me, Yvonne?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any, you know, issues either way. I just want to make sure we're doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I have your email here.
Brenda, do we have a date?
Sure. I mean, do you want
Thursday.
2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I think 2 weeks is enough.
Sure, that'd be the 15th. Same bat time?
6:15 at noon, does that work for the board? It works for me.
You mean a week from now, right? Then the 15th? Is that what you're talking
Oh,
about?
I guess so.
Yeah.
So the 22nd, I cannot do that one. That's the same time as the HDC meeting. We could do earlier in the day or whenever, if you wanted a Tuesday.
I mean, why don't we just do the 15th if it works for people?
I can notice it this afternoon. It's not a problem.
Yeah, let's just do the 15th then.
So we're going to hold on that motion from Ravonda about HHA getting first dib.
I just sent you the email.
Okay,
Come on.
great.
um, I'm sorry. So what was the date that we came up with?
The 15th at noon.
Next Tuesday at noon.
Okay.
So for the meeting next week, does someone want to work with me to develop sort of an agenda that's more detailed about discussion points so we're on track?
I mean, I can.
Sure.
Somebody else, or Tom, maybe Tom wants.
No. I just want to ask a question. I mean, isn't one of the ideas to get a legal opinion about how to allow those properties to be part of HHA?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that that's.
Yeah, I mean, I'll sit down in the next day or so with the city attorney and kind of iron some of this out before next week's meeting. All right, do we want to move on? I know we have some guests here.
Yes. Before we move on to that, just so it doesn't get lost, should we have a motion for Victoria Polidoro to represent HCDPA for the management of the community garden RFP?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second? No second?
I'll second.
Can you repeat that motion, please?
Sure. We're motion to engage the legal counsel of Victoria Polidoro for the RFP for the management of the community garden.
Let's move on, please.
Are we taking a vote?
Yeah, we're taking a vote.
Okay, but nobody motion, nobody second, so we're not gonna force it, right?
We
So
did have,
let's move on.
Rebecca
Yeah.
motioned and the mayor seconded.
so, yep.
Yeah, do we need everybody signify all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
I feel like I should abstain from votes today. I'm not read into anything here.
I mean, and the reality is this, I mean, if we don't engage.
We have a motion and a vote on the floor. I don't know why, is the vote carries or no?
It's split.
So
Tiffany,
then it's a no.
I just would like to inquire whether, I mean, because I guess my concern is that we're not going to have action on the community garden issue without being able to hire an attorney. And I don't really understand, like, so that's my concern. Like, I believe hiring an attorney is a really good thing to do in this case, and we have to, I believe. So I don't really understand why not.
Because we can look for somebody else, correct? I'm just not comfortable with it. I'm not gonna say why, I'm just not. But we can look for someone else, right?
Yeah, we can, but I know that you guys kind of wanted this process to move faster. But I mean, if that's the decision of the board, then
I mean, if the board doesn't want to do an RFP for the community garden, that's okay. We don't have to do that. I just need to verify that our insurance, which I have multiple phone calls out to our insurance agent to make sure that if people are using it, they can continue to use it as is. If that's what you want, that's fine.
That's fine. Let's move forward with that. And if some way, somehow, Mayor, see how the city can get involved in the meantime.
we'll do. All right, let's move on. I believe the motion carried.
Okay, so next was Habitat for Humanity.
Oh,
Hello?
can you all hear me?
Yes.
Well, here I am. Sorry to be in my car, but just the best laid plans. So thank you for inviting me. My name is Al Valencia. I'm the still feeling very new executive director of Columbia County Habitat. And I am making introductions. The mayor and I participated a few weeks ago in a radio show where we were sort of reintroducing Habitat to the community, and which we're still in the process of. And we would like to be more active in Hudson and helping to address the affordable housing issues that are in the city. As you all might know, we've developed about 15 properties over the course of a couple of decades, but none lately. And I would love to have conversations about what else we can do and how we re-engage. We are going through our own strategic planning process, and one of the key initiatives that we are working to develop is to build at more scale, so more density and quicker, and we're looking for ways that we can do that. Other habitats around the country are innovating in terms of the type of housing that they're building and the partnerships they're building it under. So I'm deep in the research process to see what's applicable to our county and to the city of Hudson. And right now I'm, open to having conversations with anyone who wants to explore how we can promote home ownership among, affordable home ownership, and what the opportunities may be. I know that there's some parcels available. I know that we want to, again, re-engage in Hudson and help be part of the mix. What Habitat does that is unique to Habitat is that we build in partnership with low-income families, and we promote home ownership. And the benefits of home ownership are significant and substantial in stabilizing communities for the longer term. And we think being in that mix, or Habitat being in the mix, is something that needs, that we want to make sure that is part of the conversation in where Hudson goes next.
Thanks. Any questions from the board for Habitat for Humanity?
It looks like Rebecca has.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Alderman Garriga.
I love the program Habitat for Humanity. I think it's a great initiative. It gives people that boost of owning their own property. I know that there's so many wonderful programs that are just hidden within the under the umbrella of the Hudson Housing Authority, or just Housing Authority itself. And I was curious to know, have you, and if you are willing, if you haven't already, willing to work with the Hudson Housing Authority one step further with this initiative of Habitat of Humanity?
Absolutely. I'm willing to explore any partnerships that will facilitate the increase in affordable housing in Hudson.
Do you have a property already that you all can build upon right now for Habitat of Humanity in the city of Hudson? Or
No.
are you looking for property?
We do not have any existing parcels. We are looking for new parcels. And we're willing to co-develop or look at how to structure partnerships where we can, again, build at scale. So build multiple units of ownership type properties.
Have you reached out to people that have like multiple properties to see if they were willing to part with one of theirs?
I'm here 3 months and I'm just beginning to have those conversations. So not as many as I need to.
Right. Have you heard about Mr. Phil Gellert's properties in the city of Hudson?
Yes, I have heard.
Well, then you got a lot of work to do then. That's it for me for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rebecca, you had a question?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Any further questions from the board? Thank you, Al. It's great to have Habitat a part of this process as we start to establish, affordable housing across our city. And, we look forward to working with you further.
My pleasure. I look forward to that too. And, we're all focused on the same goal. So thank you.
The next order of business is Eric, did you want to say anything from Patterns for Progress?
No, I think we pretty much covered our question was basically, as Kate said, about generally what your process is for decision making on your parcels, and I think we're kind of seeing some of that right now on this meeting. And I mean, I guess one question I had is of the properties that you own now, are there any that you are pretty much all in agreement should be like a priority for affordable housing development? Like the ones down on the corner of Warren Street, that little park area, is that a place that, you know, you're just sort of considering could be affordable housing, or is that something that, because I haven't been on any of the, or, you know, listened to any of the other previous meetings, so apologize if this has been discussed, but is that a parcel of land that, you know, you think would be appropriate for affordable housing that you'd like to see there? And then also just, I know that all this entire question is couched in the discussion you've already been having about waiting for the plan that we're doing to find out some of those answers and the sort of pressure to do something about the housing now. So that's kind of a long-winded response, but.
Yeah, I mean, I just would say there's a sort of a, you know, like a circular process that's happening where I know that, you know, in terms of like the housing community that has been trying to work on path to developing affordable housing, we've been waiting, like we really were, you know, trying to get this plan. Like the concept of the plan is it will tell us to some extent which properties make sense for which thing, to whatever extent, you know, obviously we're not going to just be blindly following that plan, but the idea was that you know, the plan is going to be like working with each owner, with each owning agency to actually like help us know and help us like formulate these dispositions in the best possible way that produces the most housing that's the most effective for the most people in the city. And so that's what we've been waiting for. And, you know, so essentially, like, we haven't had these conversations. I mean, HCDPA and there's on the city council, there is a committee called the Properties Committee. And we have like a master list or whatever you want. You know, we have a agglomerated list of all the properties, and there's just conversations happening, but this plan is really supposed to like really provide the coagulant for all these really, really loose conversations that are happening. So that is what we want. And, you know, I mean, one thing, you know, not an HCDPA property, but in I think February 2020, maybe the Common Council passed a resolution that the property on the corner of 4th and State is to be developed for affordable housing. So currently that is the only property that has been identified and like completely agreed upon, as far as I know, that's city owned or HCDPA owned, that is specifically to be developed for affordable housing so far. So that's, but now we just need to, you know, keep rolling.
Understood.
I just want to clarify what the address of that property was, or the intersection, didn't it?
It's a vacant lot on the corner of 4th and State. It's directly across the street from the old Hudson Library, which is a vacant building, which is in front of the JLE school. And it has a vacant lot behind it directly, which is currently owned by the Galvin Foundation. So there's, you know, it's 2 vacant lots on 4th between Warren and Columbia. And like I said, the Common Council voted to develop that lot for affordable housing.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So I think we're really here just to learn. And so I think the other question we had was just about your logistical process for whether you do an RFP, RFQ, that type of thing. And I think that was answered earlier. So appreciate you allowing us to join in on this and to help us better understand your process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last thing that is on our agenda is from Rebecca Wolf, and then that's potentially adding an ADLN committee member to the board as an appointed position.
Right. And, because of the grant timeline and all the work that is going to be accomplished during the grant period, it seems to me, and hopefully to the board, that there's a value to having an ADLN team member specifically on the board. Although it occurred to me, like, Michelle could also be formally added to the board, maybe. Or Tom, you're shaking your head. I don't know what that means.
Well, because she's not a Hudson resident or any connection to the city directly.
Yeah, and I don't know that a board member can
Yeah.
also be paid.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
the
all
problem.
right. Okay. Okay, so, all right. Well,
She is a resident.
yes, she is.
Sorry about that.
It's okay, it's only been a week. Yeah. New resident.
Well, so I guess I'd just like to have some discussion of this.
Yeah.
I do the step off, everyone, but I will see you all on the 15th at noon.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda.
I think, Branda, aren't there rules for HCDPA membership established by HUD?
I don't believe so. I think that it's all in our bylaws and the city charter. There's the everybody's ex officio, but as you pointed out last time, which I confirmed, looking at the bylaws, that the mayor can appoint someone as well.
Cool.
Okay. Well, so, I mean, we can just revisit this next time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with it, but I'd rather have a full board to kind of
weigh in on that.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm done with that then.
Cool. Public comment.
I'm not sure when the right time to ask this is, but I know I need to request on the grant funding, there's a line for like admin office supplies. And so I would like to ask the board to authorize that I could have about like $250 for me to get a desk and chairs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sure. So how that works, if you want to pay out of pocket, we can reimburse you. You can put it in your invoice for the month.
Okay.
Yeah, and just because you're new, I'll just remind everybody, usually a week before the meeting, I get all the invoices in so I can share them with the board, and then I cut the checks and then out they go, usually right after the meeting, so.
Is there a specific, because didn't we talk about this, I want to say a few months ago, about being able to just order stuff for people so that they're not paying out of pocket? Or
Sure, we can do that if you want. I just, yeah, Mayor, you'd have to give approval to use your card.
Okay, yeah, because I remember us bringing this up a while back, but
Yeah.
I'll touch base with you, Michelle, and with Branda as well.
Cool.
Anything else?
I don't see any hands.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great.
Thanks.
I will have a great week, everyone.